Hello and welcome. I am the Last Hit Point Hero, and you have found your way to Neon Lights Roleplay. We are so very glad you're here and hope you enjoy your stay. Tonight, after 2 months of holidays and a very long hiatus, we return to our playthrough of the Dungeons & Dragons 5th edition adventure module, Icewind Dale, Rime of the Frostmaiden. Why am I getting so tired? First and foremost, no attempts to make this story child appropriate have occurred. This is a tale of cold isolation, alien incursion, and self-centered divinities. This actual play stream contains adult language, descriptions of violence and light gore, scary images, generally speaking, a great deal of cold. There may or may not be some arachnid images as well. So, things to keep in mind. Our players, however, are here to warm the night. Safety tools are in place for the players, but you as a viewer do not have such a luxury. So if any have any so
relatable.
If you know of any sensitivities to those listed topics, please keep a teleportation spell prepped and readied. Barring that readied action, kick back, relax, keep all heads, hands, paws, and claws inside the stream at all times. Slap the follow button to join the wonderful world of Neon Lights Roleplay. Click the Discord link that spontaneously appears when I say that. I don't understand how it works. To be part of the Neon Lights Roleplaying community, and above all else, be good. That's the rule. Be good. As for our players, we are going to head around the virtual table, introduce ourselves, say hello, and answer the question of the night in as far as our character is concerned. So according to your character, was Tennyson right or not? Is it better to have loved and lost than never to have loved at all? That's the question, but we shall work our way around, say hello, and get the answers from the players themselves. Starting just below me on your screen, recent tests suggest 50% greater appreciation for the little things, thanks to only one daily dose of this rare individual. It's Heck.
That one was so sweet. I love these intros. I missed these intros. Hey everybody, it's me, Sir Heckalot. You know, I'm here. I'm on your screen. And tonight, I guess not as per usual, we've only had one other session with this character. I'm back with Valkyrie, the drow monk. I didn't get to intro her last time. She uses she, her pronouns, and I use she, they pronouns. And you know, it might be more fun to answer the question as both of these characters, because I think they're exact opposites of each other. I think a story is like very much it's better to have a loved and lost and not loved at all, and Valkyrie's just like, what? And that's it.
What is love?
Baby, don't hurt me.
Don't hurt me?
It's back. It's back. Oh my god. Okay, that's enough for me.
You set it up so
Perfect.
well, Heck.
It was. As all things should be. Continuing down and around, studies have shown a 75% improvement in life quality for those engaging with this natural mood lifter. It's Al.
Hi, my name is Al Lucart, and tonight I am going to be playing Mirth, our Dragonborn bard, who uses he pronouns, he, him. To answer the question about whether 'tis better to have loved and lost than never to have loved at all, Mirth, as a bard and a true romantic at heart, absolutely believes that it is everyone deserves to experience love. And I think, yes, he would say that is the case. Much better to have loved and then to experience grief than not at all.
Wonderful. Continuing around our virtual tabletop, simple proximity is enough to raise average general knowledge levels by an astounding 80% when you're around T.
Hey there, I'm T, and I'm playing Brom tonight. My pronouns are he, they, and Brom's pronouns are he, him. And Brom has a couple of thoughts as to this question. One of them is, am I really worthy of love?
Mm.
And two, yes.
Mm.
No, don't do this to us.
All
The
right,
Bromsicle.
there we go. Brom swinging for the fences this evening.
I don't know
Oh,
what
this-
that means, but it feels
this
right.
This is going to be... I don't know what it means either. It sounds right, though.
It's a home run.
It's the mood, it's the mood.
Oh
Home
yeah,
run.
home run. That's
Yeah.
right. It's a game.
Mhm.
Cool.
I don't even like
And-
sports. I understood that.
And last but certainly not least for this evening, laboratory testing confirms the rumors. I paused in the wrong place. Laboratory testing confirms the rumors that quality of life rises 90% with a once weekly dose of this newest super supplement. It's Jamie Botts.
Those are really nice to hear. You're right. They're like,
Mhm.
I'm Janie. I am playing May. I'm supposed to do something else.
Does May think it's better to have loved and lost than never to have loved at all?
Oh, right. Sorry, I had like something completely queued up in my mind that I was going to say, and then it just went flew out the window. That's probably because I'm sitting right by the window. May thinks that there's lots of kinds of love, and why not experience all of them with people, lots of people? So there's lots of different choices to have.
Sounds great.
No idea if that made sense. I forgot what words are.
They'll come back
Perfect.
to you.
Squiggles is out for the evening, but we should all be back in 2 weeks, I believe. But as for me, I am the last point hero. I use the he, him pronouns. I will be, well, whatever things they want to talk to in friendly manners or kill this evening. So we'll see how that progresses. Bringing everyone with just the briefest of summary back up to speed, as it has been so very long. Our party has been exploring the vault of the Frostmaiden, this strange icy domain deep beneath the rugged glacier. Within, they have found bits and pieces of this lost city that have been encased in the ice, along with so many other mysteries as well. While down here, they have been thwarting the Frostmaiden's really very being on multiple occasions, and she is in so many ways haunting these halls as well. After a perilous fight with a Rimarez, Astoria fell. Both Hush and Azarus dove in the waters after her, the three of them disappearing from the scene, leaving our party at half strength. Continuing on, needing to escape the situation, they find themselves in a mysterious and obviously magical grove of fruit trees. A dryad befriended them, eager to speak, and a mysterious figure greeted them. A drow monk, and the companion who traveled with her. In this glow of light around the party, that's more or less where we will pick up briefly. But before we do, the camera shifts down an icy hallway, twisting and turning, bouncing off frozen mysteries lodged beneath the walls of the ice, until it arrives at the figure of a drow scout, jogging up to a robed commander, the mage overseeing this expedition. Silently shifting his weight from one foot to the other, the scout patiently, well, not so patiently, awaits permission to speak. Yulsebek turns from studying the statues carved into the massive, partially collapsed structure. Report. There are others in the cave. Lady Valkyra is drop the honorifics. I have no interest in listening to your ass kissing when she's not even present. Slaknar wrings his hands and glances down the hall as though Valkyra would be standing there. Valkyra is speaking with them. What do you mean by speaking with them? She's only here to kill any who interrupt this research. She has exactly one job on this expedition and needs to do it. The scout looking increasingly nervous as the mage seems to speak so freely. Mage, please, do not call the eyes of Lilith upon you. Do not seek the Shawidira. The crack of Yulsebek's hand across the obsequious scout's face echoes through the ice-walled chamber. Lead me to them. The camera darts back through the icy halls to the group gathered beneath the trees as Lady Valkyra, you see through the tunnel to the west, where you know that the mage Yulsebek, who has been, strictly speaking, given authority over this, well, at least been given lead over this expedition, as he is more knowledgeable in these particular areas. And Tloknar, the other scout who was with you, approach. At a glance, it's clear that no one else in this party can see through the dark to notice the figures as they silently slip into the chamber.
Uh-huh.
The game is yours.
Oh my gosh.
Uh-huh.
Yay.
Well, what were we talking about before? I'm actually very curious. Like, were we having a conversation and this would just be an abrupt, like, change in the conversation? Like, I legitimately, it's been so long.
I remember we were talking about, we'd all sat together. It was tense, and we were talking about, we shared motives, and we're trying to blend knowledge of what we knew. And so Curry told us was vague, but she basically implied, I'm down here looking for treasure. Kind of like a very vague, like, I'm looking for something down here, aren't you? And I think we just fully said we're about Frostmaiden, if I remember correctly. I'm pretty sure we just laid it all on the line. But we were basically comparing maps, I believe, at the time. We were eating purple fruit and looking at each other's maps.
Yes.
Oh yeah, didn't someone turn purple from eating a lot of them? Was it Mirth?
It wasn't Mirth, was it? I think it was Brahm.
Yeah, it was
Brahm
one of
might
the
turn
not,
purple.
like, scaly...
That's right. It was definitely Brahm because I mentioned it and then realized nobody could even see it because Brahm has full
Because
armor
he's
and a
in all
helmet
this
on.
can.
Yes.
That's right.
So Brahm is currently, unbeknownst to him or
Secretly
anyone
blue.
else, a
Purple.
can of blueberry pie filling.
Yay.
Aw.
He's just a Dark Souls character. It's fine. Just gonna go through the rest of the game being a Dark Souls character.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah, if we're continuing to do that, I think Valkyrie, in a very subtle way, will just, like, continue, like, pointing at different sections on the map, and then, hold on, I gotta look back at my character sheet again. What do I know? Yeah, oh, that's right, I did choose that. She will say in Draconic, in just, like, a very casual way, sounds like conversational, to anybody, like, just, like, listening to the tone of voice outside. We're not alone. There are compatriots, and you can tell, like, that's said in kind of a kind of way. That just came in through a tunnel to the west you probably can't see.
Mirth catches on real quick, actually. I think he's sort of on the alert anyway with this. You're dangerous as hell as first witness. I think he's like very on, if that makes sense. So when you switch into Draconic, in his head he's thinking, great accent. Like, you know, like, wow, like even got the trills right? Like, what? And then I think he replies also in an even tone of voice, are you being followed? Do you need protection?
I mean, I'm personally fine. I'm not too bothered by them, but they will probably mean harm on you.
Meldrum, I think, who was serving as a seat at the time. I can't remember what he was doing.
I think
it was something like that.
Out. I don't think I was sitting directly.
No, he laid like his cloak down for you to sit on. That's what it was. He laid his cloak down for you to sit on.
I was just like, I don't know about that.
No, we didn't go. I didn't go that far. Meldrum kind of glances in your direction and says in drow, Lady Valkyrie, what are we doing?
We're getting information. Just how we were before.
Yes, my lady. And he nervously glances out toward the west.
Yeah, this is like, and she'll pick up on that and say, I'm aware that the two of them are here. How they want me to do my job does not concern me. I will do this however I see fit.
Of course, my lady.
So as you are switching, clearly very multilingual, back into drow and conversing, Mirth takes a minute to sort of confer briefly with him, and Mirth takes a minute to confer with our group, and he looks at May and then looks at Brahm and murmurs, "We're not alone. You're ready to fight."
Pair walk closer to the edge of the light, and Valkyrie, you can see as Yilsabek standing essentially in the middle of the darkness, either knowing or strongly suspecting that he's not noticed by them, shoves his hands into the sleeves of his robe and just appears to be watching with a curious expression.
Interesting. He's just gonna hide. Of course he is. Of course he's just gonna hide. Okay. We're gonna switch languages again. We're gonna go back to Draconic.
You're just showing off at this point.
Not really. It's just more of a it's a telephone thing. Just so you know, and it seemed to have worked. We seem to have not tipped him off that y'all know what's going on. I kind of love that. So
it is kind of cool. Like, just keep the same tone of voice if somebody's paying attention to other things. You never know.
Yeah.
You can tell me, because you would know or not. Does he speak Draconic or not?
I don't know.
You can tell me. You've been traveling with him.
I mean, I don't think so. I don't know why he would need to, if that makes sense.
Okay. That's fine.
Just because it hasn't really helped the group with any of the finding Yithrid or anything like that. I don't think, at least. So yeah, I don't know why he would.
Okay, then you know that you can speak freely in Draconic, and he won't understand you.
But yeah.
So we can't see. All of us land lovers, surface dwellers cannot see Creeper McGee over there. But we know he's there because it's been disclosed, and now Brahm and May also are aware of it.
Correct.
So Mirth in his head is thinking, okay, here we are amongst these trees. Ambiguously somewhere, there are a few other people that are stalking us and preparing to attack us. So he is thinking maybe it's good to try and get the drop on them before they can get us. Like, this might be a moment advantage, because if Valkyrie doesn't think negotiation is possible, and we didn't think negotiation was possible with Valkyrie, that seems, based on just a gentle guess, it seems like if even this reluctantly social drow woman is the... You know what I mean? Mirth is putting it all together, and he's like, this doesn't look great. This doesn't look like one where we can bard our way out of this necessarily. And in his head, he's thinking the best we can hope for is... I have an idea! Hey, I'm gonna... Yay, external processing player and also character. So I think what Mirth is gonna do is, while speaking in Draconic, I think he actually is reciting a poem to him. It's a very beautiful poem about whether it is better to have loved and lost than never to have loved at all. And I think as he does that, he's gonna cast Major Image, and he's going to conjure up earlier when earlier were we seeing evidence of frost giants? Was that sort of part of our adventure here, or up top?
So
one of the first things that we saw?
The
like
encounter, the only frost giant you've encountered recently is there's a frozen one that Hush really wanted to be friends with. Somewhere in the northeastern section, and yeah, so that would be the most recent frost giant anything. You would know that. Yeah,
I know what it is. Remember the... Oh, sorry, go ahead. I got so excited.
No, it's fine. Go ahead. I was just gonna say you would know that there are frost giants in Icewind Dale in different places.
I have an even better idea. Remember those cats that attacked us early on, like ages ago, but in character like a week or something ago? A snow cat prowling after us. Mirth is going to create an illusion of like a pack of them prowling around in the darkness, hopefully trying to distract our potential, our little creepers.
All right, so you create a group of crag cats. And if everyone remembers, this is a crag cat call. They are famous for their very much human-sounding calls to make people investigate to see what the matter is. Let's see.
And one more thing, he would have probably squeezed May's hand and maybe Brahm as well, just to be like, this isn't, you know what I mean? Like, you know, like a hint of I'm about to do a thing, so it's not we're being assaulted by crag cats.
And I'm not sure if Brahm's caught on to what is happening, but he looks suspicious now. No one's communicated directly with him that they're under attack, but he kind of gets ready to draw his sword and looks around in the darkness for whatever the heck it's whatever's going on here. Something smells not good.
May is completely unbothered by all of this.
May
She's in a food coma from a fruit.
Yeah, he wishes he had her chill. Unfortunately, Brahm thinks something stinks in the state of Denmark, so.
The pair of figures walk closer, up to the very edge of the light, but still outside of it. And Valkyrie, you do see that the scout Slaknar has taken a much more aggressive stance. He has drawn a dagger because of the sounds and the appearance of crag cats somewhere within the chamber. Just for the sake of generalities, about where would you stick them? Where would Mirth stick them?
Mirth, who also theatrically has drawn his dagger, looking around fearfully, I think he would probably splay them out behind the trees. So I'm thinking like he would probably, based on whatever trees he knew, he would like make it seem like some of them were prowling around, taking cover. So like maybe one over here, maybe one over here, maybe one from this direction, and then maybe another one sort of in this direction. I think he's just flying blind with where he's going, so he's covering like a semicircle of fake cats.
Yeah. So especially with the one so nearby, you can see that Tlaknar has definitely taken a defensive and wary position. And Yiselbeck glowers. And a voice from the darkness in drow speaks out. What are we doing with these creatures down here below?
Does he show his face at all, or is he just?
He stays outside of the ring of light.
Of course he does. Oh. Of course he does.
You know, uncertain. So you've worked with him. You've worked in the drow. You know that every drow would much rather attack from an ambush, a place of hiding.
Oh, for sure, because that's what she did.
Yeah, that's so.
That's exactly what she did too, and it was great.
Yep.
It was a good time. I guess she'll look up at him, and say, gathering information that your team wasn't able to find.
I defer to your wisdom, of course, in figuring whatever it is that we are missing. But these do seem to keep, glances over at the crag cat prowling nearby, odd company.
Yeah, I mean, I certainly don't quite understand the surface dwellers either, but gestures at the map, it's sound information.
So, shall we take them back to the outposts for more intensive interrogation then?
We shall.
With that, all of you see a robed drow step into the dim light, just at the edge of your vision. He is fairly nondescript, plain in every possible interpretation of the word. Boring robes, simple family medallion around his neck, and nothing more. He inclines his head ever so briefly, or ever so slightly, in your new friend's direction, and speaks in common. The rest of you see he's now understanding what he says. You are captives. Follow me. And he gestures.
Mirth looks at Valkyrie and says in Draconic, so should I cancel the cats?
Sure.
He's gonna look to May and Brahm, and especially in the case of Brahm, who kind of reminds him of a big dog, and sometimes like alert, but like what's happening? He's like, okay, we're being taken hostage, except for it could be normal taken hostage, not taken hostage. So it's normal taken hostage or maybe taken hostage. It's kind of unclear because Valkyrie could go either way. Do we want to be taken hostage? Or do we want to... How are we feeling? May, Brahm, democracy?
Are there any ropes?
Democracy.
I kind of wanted to be tied up if I wanted to get hostage.
I like the way you think.
Oh my.
Dang, this is like kind of low tier hostage to me.
Well,
it really is though. It's out of character, but yeah, I feel like in character it would be more of just like when Yosefek says that, it's just kind of looking at whoever in the group, she manages to make eye contact of just like a,
The uncertainty of this hostage situation amuses me greatly. Wait, are we prisoners or not?
This is what happens when you're all just oblivious bards.
Are we prisoners or not? God.
We haven't decided yet. We'll make up our minds as we go.
Listen, it hurts to not have the somehow brainiest member of the group and just being this unrelated character. It hurts me.
Yeah, and unfortunately you got to deal with a queen, another type of queen, and a ding dong in armor.
I know, it's
now.
all the thembos. This is it. The thembos of the group.
So, do you follow? What is the plan?
What's our dryad up to? Has she vanished back into the trees?
She seemed, when you look around for the dryad, she no longer is easily visible. If you would like to make a perception check to try and see where she may be hiding, that would be fine.
It's okay. Just was curious how she responded to it. And dryads, their whole thing is hide if a threat, so let's not draw attention to her unless she wants to come out. But yeah, I guess Mirth's thought on this is, if we don't have to fight, that'd be great. Also, they might have more information wherever the heck they're staying at. Also, maybe we could charm them on the way.
Okay.
That's how our bard thinks.
They will begin leading you. Talaknar will circle around to follow behind. The only person that has seen him are those that can see in the dark. So he will circle a long way around. I will make him do a stealth check and give you all a perception to see if he stealths successfully or not.
Got a 2, so yeah, he did.
Got a 16.
16? He is in the darkness, so he had his advantage.
Oh no.
So none of you saw him, unless Braum
wait,
rolls
I
well.
gotta. I'm rolling. I don't think I'll roll well, but
Do it.
See,
What?
oh, come on.
so he will find a inconspicuous place to be out of sight as you all pass by. And you follow this mage. I am going to line you up in a fairly arbitrary way. This is not set in stone.
I've lost everyone on the map, so I need to like find us.
I said, yep, there you go.
Thank you.
And why did I... Oh, 2. Oh, I have a chart. 2. 2 is probably what is actually affecting Braum. In any case, the group of you begin following Yilsabek, and you have a few minutes walk through these icy halls, not unlike the halls that you've been passing through before. They twist and they turn and they work their way through. So I am going to... My entire computer just tried to throw you across the room.
Don't do that.
No.
No thank.
To make it easier, I will group you up more. There we go. All right. So if there's anything you want to say to Yelsabek on the way, now's kind of the time to do it.
So, do you cut your hair yourself, or?
I love Mirth.
Speaking is not necessary.
Oof. He hears the voice and you're right. Sometimes silence is the answer.
So we're silent hostages, is what you're saying?
Silent captors.
I don't. Yeah, I don't know what's going on. I'm just. May says that she's like, I don't know what's going on. It just goes quiet.
Lady
So,
Valkyra thinks you have information, so we shall ask.
Mirth senses insecurities in Yilsabek and is feeling a little predatory and bullyish about it.
Good.
So I think he's slashing little quips and vicious mockeries that are not, in fact, actual minor mockeries. Occasionally, like, he's being criticized for everything from his haircut to his grammar, which I'm sure is fine, to how low on the totem pole he is, and how he could really stand to learn a thing or two from Valkyrie, and also Mirth.
Of your quips are met with just this cold shoulder of silence as he leads you forward. Perhaps early on, Yilsabek glanced back at some of the early barbs, but it seems like over time, this isn't the first time that, he's been told these truths about him. And he's well adapted to taking the barbs with grace.
He's got a thick skin.
He does.
You've got a thick skin, but they say that people with thick skins have tender hearts beneath. I'd like to get to know you.
That's probably not his job. What is his
Mirth says this while conspicuously keeping Brahm's big body in between him and this guy.
I mean, Mirth could probably easily hide behind Brahm.
Oh yeah,
how wide he is.
Mm-hmm. There's quipping and seeing what the reaction is, and then if anything, the glancing back. Suddenly, Mirth is slowing down behind. It's like when a crow is following another animal, pecking at it, but the second it turns around, it's like, ooh. Mm-hmm. And then he looks at Valkyrie, who actually might be able to provide useful information, and say, "Where and why are we going? Also, where did you learn how to speak Draconic?"
There were a couple books on it down where I'm from. It's not important, but
no, it's an incredible feat. Draconic is difficult to learn, especially if you don't have scaly lips. Your pronunciation on the trills, phenomenal. I can't believe you learned only from books.
I'm glad it worked out. I wasn't sure if it was going to. Good thing it did. We're going to the outpost. It's where the rest of our information is, and probably things that you all seem interested in as well.
Yeah, question for you. You gonna kill us? Level with me.
I'm not that interested in it. If we just kind of go our separate ways, I don't really care.
Okay. The energy is mellow. Mirth is sort of looking uncertain.
Indifferent, but
My question is the indifference towards us more or less indifferent than your feelings about Buzzcut over here?
I mean,
on a scale of if it came down to it, Valkyrie, could you really do us in? Look at this face. I'm the best conversation you've had in months. Be real.
Oh my god.
But I feel like for a second she just kind of lets those words kind of fall flat. But then we'll answer.
Long silence.
I mean, if I had to choose, I wouldn't mind not having the fuddy-duddies not around here. Push came to shove.
Well, that sounds great. It's a plan then. Who likes a fuddy-duddy? Men, am I right? And then he looks uncertain at it. He'll lapse into awkward silence as we get closer to this outpost.
Almost as though thinking of it summons it, you turn another corner in the ice, and at the very edge of the light that you're using rises a broken wall of one of these buildings that you've seen time and again, frozen beneath the ice. The rime sticks to the dark bricks, as it seems to be just the top of a broken tower sunk into the ground itself. It's about a 10-foot small climb to get over the lip and onto the roof. And as you approach, these shadows in the darkness become more and more clear. There is a statue of a mage. All of you who use magic can notice they are in mid-cast of some sort of spell, just kind of frozen, not in any kind of suspicious way, but carved in that way. Yilsebek, somewhat awkwardly, climbs up the 10-foot wall to reach the lip and waits at the top for you all to follow. He progresses around, and as you follow him along this roof, platform, whatever it is, you can see directly to your left that the ice is frozen fast against a domed room that was once perhaps the penthouse, for lack of a better word, of this tower. Circling around, there is another one of these mage statues in mid-cast. Reaching
Oh, sorry.
Go ahead. No, go ahead.
Can I do like a casual detect magic on these statues? So many things from the Netherese Empire are amazingly magical, and Mirth is curious.
You can. Yeah, you begin to cast detect magic, and Yilsebek looks at you suspiciously as you begin casting a spell. But recognizing it, almost seems to nod in approval, as though maybe, you will have something useful and aren't just useless baggage. You get a lot from that nod, apparently. In casting detect magic, you do detect magic. Well, it's 30 feet or 60 feet. I think it's 30.
I think it's only 30. Yeah.
So every time you pass one of these statues, yes, you are sensing magic within each statue and within this tower itself. It's not unlike when you've sensed magic in these other Netherese towers. Magic was such an ingrained aspect of everything they did that there seems to be traces of it on just about everything that's Netherese. Both of these statues, however, do have, while they have many different schools radiating from them, there is a more prominent glow from specific schools. The first one glows with a little bit stronger conjuration magic, and the second one with a little bit stronger illusion magic.
Mirth is interested enough to pause, and since we were not fettered, I think that he might get away with a little bit. He'll pause in front of the conjuration spellcasters thing, and he'll come over and he'll brush away some ice, I guess. Is there a placard? Is there a name for this caster? Or is it just an artsy sculpture?
Go ahead and give me an inspection. Investigation. I don't know why I said inspection.
We can do both. All right, let's see.
While you start looking over the statue, and go ahead and roll and hold on to that answer, Yilsebek will say in Drow, "So they are magic users. Are they going to be useful then? If they're magic users, they could be a threat."
I think their actions are speaking louder than that. They haven't been a threat so far.
Their mere presence, however, I would say would be a threat. And he, almost half-heartedly adds at the end, "My lady."
Look at you adding the formalities to it. I don't sense that same surface dweller threat from these.
I get the feeling that he's kind of trying to push right up against the edge of what would be appropriate. somebody might reprimand him later for this. That's kind of how close to the edge he is, but not, these are the nuances of drow interaction that I really can't present without just saying explicitly he's bumping against the wall of what is socially acceptable. When he says, "My lady, the matron has tasked us with investigating and securing these ruins. To share our secrets with strangers would be an affront to Lolth."
Mirth hears the word Lolth and goes very still. Mirth knows that word, and it is not good word.
And who are you to decide that?
Through gritted teeth, my lady. That 15 of investigation, you start investigating this statue. There's no writing on it at all. There's no words that you can find. The mage being portrayed is definitely in the middle of casting a spell. Not at the beginning, not at the end. They're like right in the center of some kind of spell. And there's something about it with a 15 that seems intentional that was paused in this way.
Mirth mimics the position they're in with the hand position. Does he know what the spell is? Based on, like, if not the verbal components, but the somatic ones? Is this like a familiar?
Give me an Arcana check. And
I
let me
will.
check something. This is the conjuration one. Yep, give me an Arcana check.
Oh, it's just a 10.
You kind of try a few things, but magic is so much just a part of how you carry yourself and carry the music that even though, yes, you do use some of the same motions as mages of different schools and types, there's something awkward and unfamiliar.
Yeah. Mirth may like magic a lot, but he's not a spellcaster person. His magic comes from different places. So yeah, he sort of sighs and drops his hands, and he looks at May and he says, "I get the sense of conjuration magic from this statue, and then the one back there had a sense of illusion."
Can May get anything else out of it?
If you want to check out the other one, I'm okay with that. But I don't want to throw dice at the conjuration statue until it chips.
What would I have to roll?
So if you're going to check out the other mage, after knowing that or hearing that this is a spell, I need an Arcana check. And for the illusion one, you can go ahead and roll that with advantage.
Okay. So 16.
16. This, you kind of mimic that position, and Yilsabek is just staring with hands inside his sleeves again, watching this play out. You try the hand motion, you try it as part of a couple different combinations, and there's something very familiar about it. You feel as though this is a spell that you don't know, but there's something kind of familiar, accessible about it almost. There's some kind of overlap between the way, from where your magic comes and the way that this mage is casting. But no, you can't identify the spell.
Wait, does Gilsebek, does he radiate mage? Like, is that his whole thing? He's got the robes, he's got the look.
He definitely radiates mage or sage or wizard or priest. He's like in that vague, berobed look that he has no class specific items you're aware of on display, but he's not bristling with weaponry. And oh no, you feel like if Brahm punched the guy, the jaw would break unless there was something to magically absorb the blow.
Well.
Mirth squints at him and says, "Do you know what's up with these statues? What spells are they casting?"
I see that you are taking a closer look. Why don't you tell me what you discovered?
Well, I think this one is doing something with conjuration, and I think the other one is illusion.
He'll say in drow, is it appropriate to give them a treat of some kind when they perform a trick well?
Surprisingly, I don't think they would say no.
He reaches into his pouch and pulls out what looks like a small mushroom of some kind and tosses one to you.
Mirth catches the mushroom and looks at it like it bit him. What is this?
He eats one. That's a good surface dweller.
Mirth Mirth gives him this supremely unimpressed look and flicks the mushroom over his shoulder as it bounces off the foot of the statue and stalks off and towards the front of the group. Done with this nonsense.
Yulsipek says, are we finished with these tricks, or come along, prisoners? And he leads you off this other edge. There is a little bit of a design to the top of this roof, and it serves well enough as a staircase that it's nowhere near as awkward to climb up and over here as it was when you first approached. As Yulsibek gets to the ground, you can see in the ice, he is following a fairly specific path through the ice. It seems very intentional. And he looks and says, I suggest following in my footsteps. And he kind of weaves his way through to work his way around.
Okay, step careful, Brom. Brom, hold on. Martha's going to stand up on tiptoes and lift open the hinge of your helm. Oh my god. Are you purple?
What? He says.
You know what? It suits you.
What
I think it might have had something to do with the fruit. Here, take your greave off, or take your gauntlet. Look at find a patch of skin.
He pulls his gauntlet off, because that's probably the easiest, including the glove, and looks at his hand. It is purple.
It is purple. I mean, mauve, maybe. A little bit, one might argue.
See, he says, looking down at his hand, the frown, like, What?
Do you think it's the pears that we ate?
I can't think of anything else. I wasn't purple before, was I?
I don't remember, but probably not. How do you feel?
Fine. Normal. I'm not injured anymore.
Mirth shakes it off and says, well, let us know if that changes. Hopefully you're not poisoned. And then he looks at his own claws suspiciously. Just checking for any purple tinges as we walk along the ice.
You follow Yulsibek along this very specific route. He works his way around a wall of ice that has grown up and leads you to the other side of the top of this tower, where you see 3 more statues, and near along the back wall there is a shimmer along the ice itself. You can see a hole in the wall itself into the strange dark brick that makes up so many of these Netherlese towers and buildings, and an opening that appears to have broken long ago. It doesn't seem fresh at all. As Yulsibek climbs up the architectural piece that serves more or less as stairs, You find a fire and a few bags just on the roof, so to speak. He steps over to a bag, looks around, points at the ground, and says, "Sit. Let us learn what you know."
I'd rather stand.
I did not ask which you would prefer. I said sit.
May does not sit down. I'm sorry.
Brom stands.
Earth stops trying to sit and stands up with the rest of them.
Yilsebek looks irritated and keeps glancing towards Belakiri.
Will they be able to see what they need to see from the ground?
He responds in drow. I don't care what they think they need to see. We're here for information from them, are we not?
We are, but they're currently trying to put pieces together, and I don't think we're going to understand what their pieces mean until they put them together.
So we give them the statue issue to deal with.
They solve the problem, then we take the answers.
Mirth's face lights up when he hears statue and he thinks, oh, statue investigation.
Does Mirth speak drow?
Right, he didn't hear statue.
So-
Mirth looks normal. No, thank you for flagging that.
No, that's fine. It's the hardest. One of the hardest things in D&D is multiple languages and being secret about stuff.
Yeah.
No, you're so.
I can imagine the joy of being a polyglot at a table and speaking to people in different language. I think that would be.
Oh my god! Yeah.
Wouldn't
absolutely.
that would be so fun? So he says, "Very well, if that's your wisdom." Yilsebek will very slightly incline his head, and he will walk over to the opening in the wall, and he will take a hand and place it against the opening, and his hand will stop, and this scintillation of color will radiate from beneath his hand. Within, as he switches back into common, is one of the many towers that, well, we have traced back to an ancient era of very knowledgeable mages. And while I certainly would not expect that any of you would understand the secrets within, we have the means of deciphering their knowledge. Unfortunately, he taps with a finger and the colors stop him from progressing through. This one is sealed. Figure out how to open it, and we will see that you are dealt with appropriately.
You don't have to tell me twice. Mirth is gonna go check out some of the statues, see what magics they're rating.
Okay. I need
Although
to...
he is easily stopped. To be clear, my teammates, it would be fine to grab him and no. If May and Brahm are like, no, in fact, we're going to handle this differently, 100% is also on board with that.
Brahm's willing to go along with what the others think, so he's ready to fight or ready to go with them.
Astoria. Where are you?
Where are you? Oh my god. Man.
Oh my god, no. Giving me flashbacks.
I think at seeing Mirth just like jump at the chance to like go up and do something, Valkyrie is just gonna give kind of this knowing glance to Yilsebek and say, capable sighthounds, are they not? In drow, by the way, but you know.
We'll see if they are eager idiot puppies or useful hounds, yes.
Don't get your hopes up. Out of character.
I believe in you.
All right.
Thanks.
So you have seen 2 statues. There are 3 more here. That's all the information you have right now. You know that the first statue is of apparently a Netherlese wizard in the middle of casting a spell, a conjuration spell. The other one is in the middle of casting an illusion spell. And because you can detect magic at will, and your detect magic continues running, you can very quickly identify that this statue, and I'll put a number, the numbers are not the important thing. It's just me keeping track. They could be shapes or anything for me. The one here is radiating transmutation most prominently. They all have all sorts of that magic. The one here is radiating enchantment magic. And the one here is radiating necromantic magic. And then the wall of color, the force field, for lack of a better word, is radiating equally all 8 schools of magic.
So we're missing abjuration, divination, and evocation, it looks like, Mirth says out loud. Which is interesting. Well, what could that mean?
Probably when you get all of them, something will happen.
Yeah. And he'll kind of strut self-importantly along the line of statues. And he'll investigate and see that it looks like we're iced in, right? Is that kind of it, HP? We're basically iced into just one section of this area?
You are. It seems like this tower, whether it broke off or not, you don't know. Much like the other tower, part of it partially buried. Remember, that's something you've run into with these towers, is that many of them are partially buried. And there's ice that has encased the remains of the tower. And so from what you can tell, this is the same top as where those other 2 statues were. But you definitely can't see the entire top, and whatever is in the middle is in the center of this building.
Mirth, you yourself killed. I'm going to bring you back and kill you again. Just so we're here.
Understood. And he salutes. He's going to open up his book and take out a quill. And he's going to jot down what we have so far. So he jots down, we have conjuration, and enchantment, illusion, necromancy, and transmutation so far.
Correct.
Which are, there's 8 schools of magic, so we're missing 3 of them.
Yes.
And the other 3 must be on the other side of this ice wall. Mm-hmm.
Well, what can we find? Has everyone already investigated?
So 2 of the statues have been looked at more closely. Both of them appear to be spells. And those are all the actions taken at the moment.
Okay. Do we know what spells?
No, that could not be determined. One, no idea. The other one seemed familiar, but could not be identified.
All right. Brahm's going to look at the last one.
So the 2 that they investigated were on the other side of the ice wall. So this ice wall that I'm pinging right next to statue 8, on the other side of that wall is where you came in. You went around that wall.
Can I sigh heavily and try to look at statue 8 to investigate it?
You can after T does what he started to say Brahm was going to do.
Sorry.
All right.
So what was Brom going to do then?
Brom was going to look at Brom was going to go look at the last statue that wasn't investigated.
So all three of these are still open, so you can just pick one. The numbers are arbitrary. 7, 4, and 8 are on this side.
8 is closest.
All right. So you go up to 8, and you want to figure out what kind of spell it is, or do you just want to look at it, or what are you thinking?
Look at it and then try and figure out what spell it is.
Okay, go ahead and give me this would be an Arcana check.
Oh, good. Let's see. Or maybe not. Who knows? Arcana.
So that is a 10. Looking at, there's something familiar about the hand movement. You feel like you've seen it before, but you have no clue what the spell is.
No. Brom would call Mirth over here because maybe it's Mirth who had been casting the spell. May also cast spells.
Well, we'll see, because Janie had an idea for May before you did that. So, Janie, what were you gonna do with May?
Okay. So we know that there's statues and not people that have been frozen?
Yeah, I wanted to make as clear as I could. These definitely appear to be statues rather than they're on plinths. They have, they are very dramatically posed. Looking at the features, every single statue is attractive, and that's just not how the world works. This is an idealized image stuck in stone.
And I just want to make sure we've already looked at the plinths and make sure there's no placards or anything on them.
So the other two were investigated, or one of them was investigated. Nothing was found. If you would like to do an investigation on another one of these, that would be perfectly fine. You just tell me which one you're taking a look at.
Are they still all open to look at, or just 4 and 7?
On this side, you have 8, 4, and 7.
Okay. I'm going to try to look at 8 since that seems to be where we're gathering.
Okay, so you head over next to Brom as Brom's looking at 8, and Brom is standing there like in the pose of the thinker, and you think you like smell something. It's like a burning smell or the sound of gears grinding. But
oh no,
hard.
He's a hippo.
You dismiss it and investigate the statue. So go ahead and roll an investigation.
He's doing the whole Conan the Barbarian pose. Thinking.
He has 1 foot on the plinth, elbow on the knee, hand on the helmed chin. With Go ahead. What was the question?
Does inspiration give me another roll?
Inspiration will let you re-roll that. Yes.
Okay.
So you can use it. Use that if you would like.
Sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt you.
No, it's fine.
Please be better.
14 is better than 10. You look closely at the statue. You're certain there's no writing on it. You're positive that it's here intentionally. You're positive it's been carved this way. And with a 14, that is that one. You have advantage on it. Sorry. Go ahead and roll again. Investigation. There's a familiarity to this, which grants you a bonus as you are looking at it. Back to 10.
The dice absolutely hate me.
No. You take a look. There is something very it's one of those tip of the tongue experiences. It's just painfully familiar. But no, you can't place it, and you're not too sure what they're depicting.
Oh no.
A mini temper tantrum and just fold my arms, and now I'm going to sit.
Heck, is Valkyrie gonna do anything during all of this?
I mean, she's not a caster, so I don't entirely know how she can.
There
help.
are. So even though I knew you weren't a caster, I also know that Brahm's not a particularly skilled caster. So there are plenty of other things that can be helpful that can be done.
Yeah. I mean,
And
whatever.
as the
you check
DM, there
out,
are
that would
many
be
questions you're asking that are along the right path. So
Mirth has a thing to do whenever you're ready. After Valkyrie.
Yep. My goal is to kind of give not quite combat order, so to speak, but make sure everyone has a chance to participate who wishes to.
Yeah.
Any?
I was like, I don't know, like,
You
what
could
I can inspect.
Perceive her.
Yeah, I was like, what can I help with? I don't actually know.
Was there anything that you notice with your sharp vision maybe we don't? Or like...
Yeah,
No?
like, exactly. Is there, like, a pattern that has not already been said? Like, I feel like this is just like, yes, the 3 that are missing, they're here.
So kind of to give some context, since your character has been here, just kind of how you're feeling now. Without that magical aptitude, you mostly just left Yilsabek to do his job, with the expectation that he would figure this out, because that's why he's here. And he has not been able to do that yet.
Yeah.
So this would more or less be the first time that Valkyrie would be interacting with this in any kind of intentional way. So if you want to, look around a little bit more, or, pump Yilsabek for information, those are some possibilities. Or also, since Al has an idea, we can scoot over to Mirth.
Yeah, let's see, like, what Mirth's next thing will do, and maybe I'll figure something out.
Absolutely. Al, what is Mirth up to?
Is standing back with Valkyrie and watching all of this happen, and May look frustrated as she contemplates, and he'll go up to the statue that is transmutation, and he will get an idea, and he'll say, "This is transmutation," and he'll cast prestidigitation on it, which is a transmutation school spell. And he'll add some shiny to it and see if the statue, I don't know, reacts in any way.
So you begin to cast prestidigitation. You just go through the very subtle movements necessary for that. And as the spell begins to take form, the statue with its hands in mid-cast start to spark. And then there's almost an arc of arcane energy that spits out. And it doesn't injure you, but it definitely is a negative reaction to prestidigitation being cast. Okay. Yilsabek chuckles.
Okay.
In drow, I would say in drow, he says to Valkyrie, "I hope they try a higher powered spell."
Oh, no.
Brom can't hear that, but he turns around and looks a little concerned at what just happened behind him. Are you okay?
Oh, it didn't like that I cast something on it. I was thinking if I used a transmutation spell, maybe it would react with this transmutation object, but it fired it back to me. I'm glad I only used prestidigitation.
Don't do it again. I told you what's going to happen if you get yourself killed. Going through that again.
I wonder. He takes one of the tiny horses out of his bag and puts it on the statue. Does it react?
It does tiny horse things. I'm trying to think, like, how would a tiny horse react? As they tend to do when you take them out of the bag, like the legs are a little uncertain, and when you put it down, it's almost like a foal walking for the first time, a little unsteady, just because it hasn't been on its legs, and then it starts walking around and kind of nosing at the foot of the statue on the plinth, and neither the statue nor the horse seem, to react in any meaningful way.
I thought for sure that would work.
Can my mage hand that I forgot about until now pet the tiny horse?
You can send the mage hand over. The horses are small enough that yes, you can pick up miniature horses with mage hand.
No, she just wants to pet the horse with the
Oh,
mage.
just pet it? Sorry, I didn't. It was like a
phantom
strange
pet.
cutout. Yep, the mage hand that is permanent for you begins petting the horse, and it seems fairly content.
It was totally there the whole time. Just
Oh, it always is. Every magic item we forget about was there the whole time.
Mirth does a huddle with the group and says, okay, I don't want Comb Over to know about this, but we do have the orb. You could ask Professor Scant. I mean,
We could ask Professor Scant. It might help
could. We
us.
haven't asked him for a lot, you know.
but
So he's happy to see us.
Comer was like watching us constantly.
I know he is. I think he's into me.
I don't think you should go for that.
No,
In my-
no, I have higher standards. Yeah. Yeah. Mirth thinks for a minute and then looks over very conspicuously at Valkyrie and says, hey, there's something we can do. Any chance you can distract your friend? Just a little bit.
I can try. How long do you need me to talk to him for?
How long are lessons? He asks.
Lesson-
One of us, like,
So the lessons, if I recall, last an hour.
Yeah, it's like
God.
a long.
But he like rambles for most of
distract
it.
him for an hour.
You get a useful piece
Oh,
of
no.
information encased in an
Oh.
hour lecture. So you
I have,
know.
I have another idea.
Oh yeah, what's your idea?
You want to use my tiny hut?
We could, although I don't know if
You can't.
His-
You won't be able to see through it.
that's true. I'm just wondering about what's his name's patience is all.
I don't care.
I'm down.
Did I say that out loud?
Fair enough.
Heck, the player wants you to
laughs.
try. Yeah.
I can wait at the entrance and prevent him from coming in. This is Brom.
All right then. That's what we'll do then. We will have an emergency class.
May is going to loudly announce that she needs to rest and to then set up the hut.
You start, as you say, so even before you begin casting the hut, because I believe casting it takes 10 minutes, if I remember right. It's not an instant cast.
Mhm.
Is it an action?
1 minute.
Yeah, so it takes a minute. So it's not an instant cast. As you announce that, you know, you need to take a break and start casting a spell, he responds immediately as you start casting this longer spell. He's, you will cease with that casting and deal with this issue now.
I want a nap.
What you want is irrelevant. You
Okay.
are a prisoner here.
Don't care.
This is the issue at hand.
Well, get over it and just let me get my rest.
He says in Drow, my patience with these animals has grown short. They will follow the instructions or be disposed of. No matter how you feel about me, you know that is what we have been given to do, my lady.
Ooh, the way he
it's-
said that did
I
not
know, it's
sound
just
like he meant my lady.
Not at all. Not at all. It's like, it's
He was
lady-
saying
my
something
lady
else.
derogatory. Like,
Yeah, for real.
that's-
You know how sometimes you can
lady.
say something with your friends and it's just fun and it's nice? This wasn't it.
No, not at all.
Oh,
You do know that he would be compelled to. I mean, this is at the border, just like the other thing was sidely him pushing a border. This is at the border of, you do have instructions from your family matron. It is getting close to where he might do something more than just talk. That's kind of the sense that you're
Uh-huh.
getting from his urgency.
Yeah, like that's where I don't know. Like, like do I start this now? Do I push it more? I don't know. I'm so. Oh, this was a wild position to agree to do.
Uh-huh.
Uh huh.
Now, I can, if you'd like, offer some options in the position you're in. If that helps with the thought process, I can do that if you want, but I don't have to.
I'm sorry that May is being so difficult.
No,
I mean,
this is
no, it's
exactly how I thought this would go.
Exactly. So I was like, why didn't I prepare for this? I don't know. Yeah, we could just start this now. But I don't think the rest of the group is ready for it.
I will tell you that you will not be able to finish a minute-long cast before he does act aggressively.
Okay.
Yeah.
So the essentially this out of character exchange is the decision of preparing Heck for however Heck would like to approach and deal with this.
Mm-hmm.
I know. We could just knock him out and none of them would be the wiser. You know, we could just do that. And I'm in a weird place with that. That's the only thing. I'm in a weird place with that. Because there's absolutely no subtlety or grace to that.
Nope.
Not at all. That's the thing. Like I'm also stumped on this puzzle. Like I don't know if there's like anything we can do with him still watching here. So I don't know. It's
I can say
rough.
100% the questions that you all are asking are exactly the right questions to ask.
He's the one being the party pooper here. Mirth is not happy. Everybody else is getting along except for Grumpy,
Well, look,
who's being all
so
impatient.
May is a queen, and this person's not treating May the way that she feels like she should be treated.
Brom is a paladin, and they're all evil, so his patience is very short right now.
Okay.
He is.
Yep, that's fine too.
And he's blue.
He's dealing with them, but if they said let's bop him on the head, he would 100% agree.
Hmm.
His shift to Paladin of Vengeance has come with caring a little bit less about smacking people on the head.
Valkyrie, how do you feel about the fact that 3 random new bards are very slowly looking at you for guidance, as also your drow looks at you for guidance?
I know.
Everyone
this is
looking
like,
at you.
Oh my god, all the attention's on me, and I hate that. I hate that a lot.
You can feel Malden behind you shuffling his weight back and forth, very uncomfortable with the situation.
Oh, bud.
It's like, you know, y'all, instead of getting into the suave drama that I was you know, thinking about doing here, I could have been something else. I could have been I could have been the #1 fan Noel that I was coming up with before. But no, I chose this.
You're doing great.
Yeah, no, I guess, you know, we'll ramp it. We'll ramp is what we're gonna do. Yeah, she'll look back at him and just say, look, you've taken probably double the amount of time that they're going to take doing whatever they need to do. Can we really not take that? How long do you need? Just kind of like hand wave looks at the other people.
Like exactly 1 hour.
I just need 1 hour to get my rest.
I need an hour to research.
1 hour, and to be fair, I did give them quite the welcoming community at first sight. Kind of motions at her fists.
If you command, I will grant the hour's reprieve. But if they prove useless afterwards, we must be rid of them.
Okay.
Am I mistaken in that?
I wouldn't say mistaken. I would just say perhaps a little misguided. I don't think the gods have a timeline.
He sighs and stalks over to one of the other statues here. And stops whining.
Okay, May, let's go.
Okay.
Jump into the hut.
You
It's time to learn.
You finish casting the hut.
We're
all of
speed
you
running learning,
can make your way in.
just like heck in real life.
You can make, make the hut impossible to see through and silent.
Yeah, all that he's going to see is lots of rainbows and sparkles and whatever else is the opposite of what he is. Unicorns or something, I don't know.
Just as all of you go into the hut, Belakiri, are you going in the hut with them?
I don't know. I don't think I need to, unless I'm specifically invited to do so. Like I
It might be good for you to keep an eye on
That's what
Cranky.
I'm
Otherwise,
thinking.
Brom, if he looks at Brom wrong too many times and Brom gets uncomfortable or has to pee, he'll just clock him or something, probably. So, I don't know.
So the two of you, both of our bards, go in to have a class together with Professor Scant. As you slip in, you notice on the ground just before you go in, there is an odd, misplaced red spider that is making its way along the ground. You notice it just for the oddity of there being a spider in this frozen cavern, but shrug it off and duck in. Sitting in the middle of the hut, you take out the Professor Orb, Professor Scant. You look at each other and say, does anyone remember the activation phrase?
Oh my god, class is in session?
As you say, class is in session, the orb loses the weight that it had in your hand, begins to float in front of you. Lights begin dancing around it, and you hear Professor terribly sorry. I must have dozed off there. It was a very long evening of research last night. My apologies, class. Where were we?
Mirth puts down his notes that he had been working on a little bit earlier, and he says, "We were working on this module, Professor." And then he, I think, shows like a drawing. We have, these statues with these different schools of magic. What is going on?
Oh, I must say, your drawing it's impeccable. Are you
Shucks.
double majoring in some of the more artistic courses?
I thought about it, but
You
ultimately...
should consider there may be a career in this for you.
Oh.
Because quite frankly, you've not done well in my classes, and it's good to have a backup.
Okay, well, let's focus, Professor.
The lights dance around the orb. There doesn't seem to be any face or direction, and after a few moments, this is certainly of Netherlee's origin. Wait, let me... You hear pages flipping, which is kind of a surreal experience as you see nothing unusual. Oh, yes, there's... that's right, that's where we were. Netherlee's locking mechanism. You see, the Netherlese mages were incredibly secretive with their discoveries, and while they loved to brag, they would regularly keep secrets from one another until it was ready to present. You see, it never would do any good to let the mage down the street see what you're working on and get to the point before you do. I mean, that's poor showing and poor status. I mean, after all, the Netherlese are an entire society built on status. It's worth more to them than currency, and these puzzles, they would take quite a bit of pride in them. The goal of a lock was to make something that, well, one of their, fellow mages could decipher, but would take a little bit of effort and thought. And, this would be indicative of such puzzles. They enjoyed the imagery of spellcasting itself. You see, as you can see here, and you can hear that the professor is pointing, but you see no pointing or indication at all.
Oh.
You see, here and here in these figures that you've drawn, which, by the way, these are very good. They are
Thank you, Professor. Are you pointing to number 7? And he's going to try and get a clarification on the label that he's put on them, since he can't see this guy.
That one, for example, as your finger hovers over number 7, it's certainly in mid-spellcast. I mean, you can tell from the arrangement of the fingers, it's actually a fairly elementary spell. Is it unfamiliar in your studies so far? Tell me, raise a hand, who recognizes the spell? This is certainly in mid-cast. Who recognizes
Speak
it?
with dead.
No, it's most certainly not Speak with Dead. Speak with Dead, you hang the pinky just a little bit more than what's shown here. Both of you go ahead and give me an arcane check.
Mirth was going to start going through a list of all the spells he could think of off the top of his head. He was fully prepared to cheese it.
I don't like my rolls tonight. I don't. I think it has something against me.
It could be out to get you. The roll 20 could be actively sabotaging your rolls.
I've been rolling low too. I got a 12.
12. So Mirth just starts yelling out spells.
Oh my god, he's so stupid.
Necromancy spells. So Al, if you'd be so kind, could you just go through a list of necromancy spells for me? If you don't have one, you can. I'll delay for a moment. The professor's like, no, think about it. You take a look, and you can tell from the gestures that this is
touch.
No, definitely not.
Is it message?
No, necromancy. This is
Toll the Dead?
No, Toll the Dead has a little bit more of a bell shape in the left hand than what's going on there.
Ray of Sickness.
Ray, you're on the right track. That is definitely the finger positioning for a ray.
Inflict wounds?
Well, no, a ray. You're losing ground at this point.
Oh no, what's a ray? Oh,
it's a simple spell. It's learned very early in most mages' careers.
Ray of Enfeeblement?
Exactly. I knew that you would get it. Yes, this, as you can see, this is the 4th anstriation of the classical Ray of Enfeeblement. You see, as the finger hangs in this direction, it indicates that the ray is being cast. It is the positioning of the hand here at the level of the chest that puts it in the necromantic spell, and he continues on for quite some time, describing the intricacies of how to do the necessary semantic components to cast a classic and ancient version of Ray of Enfeeblement. You see, the Netherlese, they have almost an accent to their spellcasting. You see, if you notice, the right foot is raised slightly off the ground, extending upward. We're really not sure why. You can't say for certain why that was the case, but this quirk of their casting, and he just drones on and on.
As he's droning, Mirth is going to sit back in the tradition of all good classrooms every whisper May. And he says, okay, so it looks like Ray of Enfeeblement for this statue.
So we only have however many more to figure out.
Yeah, 7 more to figure out after this. And they're all fairly elementary, but the problem is the only spells that I know are transmutation, bardic magic.
Seem, like really familiar. I'm not sure what, and I don't know what's going on with my casting today. I think I really do need like a good long rest, but we're not getting that right now. Try to get the rest of them out of him.
Well, the thing is, it's been like 45 minutes and he's doing his thing. He's still going. I don't think it's going to be possible for us to go through 1 through 8, you know?
So what if we just asked him?
Professor, pardon us.
In the second iteration of the spell, you'll really discover that Did someone interrupt me?
Yeah, I did.
Listen, that is inappropriate. I am in the middle of my presentation at this moment. If you're going to disturb the class, there is no reason for you to be a part of it.
Oh,
Do you insist on continuing with this foolery and need to be sent to the dean or not?
Well, I just thought that my...
Good! So in this section of the necromantic schools, the Netherlese had their own twist on... It's clear that over the course of the hour, yes, you will get your question answered.
Oh my gosh.
That statue is casting Ray of Enfeeblement.
Great.
So you know that statue 7 is in the middle of casting Ray of Enfeeblement.
Oh, gosh.
Okay.
Uh-oh.
As the lecture comes to a close, you realize that you've been, as before, in the middle of about an hour of Professor Scant's class. You know more about the oddities of Netherlese spellcasting. Some important things that you learn is not only is Statue 7 in the middle of casting Ray of Enfeeblement, you already know that all the statues are in the middle of casting some kind of spell. You know that 3 of the statues you cannot see. And the other thing you know is, and this is more just because the Netherlese are an ancient culture, you learn that the semantics of the hand motions for them casting spells are almost identical to the way they're done now.
But have we learned Ray of Enfeeblement?
Neither of you as bards are able to cast Ray of Enfeeblement.
Oh,
But we do have another mageling amongst us. Well, we know more now than we did before we came into the... So let's go on out there and tell them what we know. What do you say, May?
yes, it didn't figure out the rest of the spells because clearly that's important.
Mirtha tries to kick the door open, but is it a door or like a tent flap in May's creation?
I think it's a door, and May stops you from kicking the door open.
Manners.
May's like, please.
No.
Crumbs all over my
We're
damn
not-
carpet.
Can make an exit happen, but don't kick the door open.
Okay, you lead the way then. But make it look cool.
Yeah, May's going to make it look cool. It's just like, I don't know how she's going to do it, but there's just like lights and music.
To digitate.
So they have to exit. Like, there's a whole little show as they exit.
Perfect. Now, because it has been an hour, I will ask Brahm and Valkyrie, how did you spend the last hour?
Brom would spend the time standing outside of the hut with his arms crossed, staring at the other two. He occasionally is really creepy and takes out his little prayer sash and starts praying to himself quietly. Well, staring at them.
And then, Valkyrie, how do you pass the hour?
I think I'm gonna be just like looking at these statues more closely because now that I think of like Valkyrie being a monk, like I don't know, I guess I start thinking about that one episode of Avatar: The Last Airbender where it was like actually beneficial to like look at what the statues are doing as sort of like a training module. It's like maybe that's what these things are doing, because like we recognize some of the spells, but not all of them. And you can't cast the wrong spell at them because now that's something that she's seen. What happens if Valkyrie like mimics the hand motions of one of these statues?
Sure. So you head up to statue 8, we'll just say.
Sure.
The one that would be closest to where you were. And you face the same direction. You start trying to position your hands, looking over. Why don't you go ahead and give me a performance check? Let's see how close
Okay.
close to that exact positioning.
No.
That would seem to me, as far as the positioning of your body in mid cast, that would be the a 19. So you are able to stand as a perfect smaller representation of this statue behind you. You start positioning your hands just so. You even notice that one foot is like pointed slightly toward the ceiling, which is really odd. You kind of go through all of that. You match that position. You glance over to see, and yeah, you've nailed it. You are in the exact same position as this statue. And as you're looking over your shoulder, you catch in the corner of your eye, within this block of ice, what looked just kind of like a dark reflection of the statue behind you. You now notice that, especially now that you're standing there with this position, the hands of the reflection are not the position your hands are in. There's another statue within the ice that just looked like a reflection of this one.
Uh-huh.
So there is another statue there, and one of the 3 missing statues is found.
Lily Pandas, thank you for the raid, by the way.
Oh, welcome.
Oh yeah.
Hello.
About the time that you notice that other statue, at least one of the 3 missing is in there, is when you almost hear like angelic music and smoke starts pouring out of the entrance of that hut that was made. Lights begin flashing out of them, and 2 bards in an overly dramatic and definitely attention-seeking way appear from outside, from within, showing, coming back into position. Before we pursue this farther, and Ray just got here, so we'll go a little bit longer. First, T, your camera has frozen, so you are looking very seriously at all of us right now.
Oh no.
And I almost feel judged. And I feel like the longer you stare at me with that judgmental look, the more uncomfortable I will get. You may have to turn it off and back on. So
Yeah,
Ray, we're
really
about to
quick.
flicker, so brace yourselves.
Oh no, the cams.
Oh no, the cams! They should go back to where they go, though. I believe.
Perhaps.
I believe.
Oh, I
It
hope
did?
Discord's not
Please.
doing the thing. Voice chat's been having a
Oh.
hard time recently. We might have to hop over to a group chat. That's
Oh.
the only way that we've been able to fix it. So,
Sure.
yeah, we might have to.
Yeah,
take
no
a
problem.
break.
Well, yep. While we do this, because we're having some tech stuff, we are going to take a quick break to fix this. We will be back very, very soon. Don't go anywhere.
Yay.
Hello and welcome back. Sorry for that brief delay. Discord has been misbehaving across servers recently. We ran into it and had to fight a couple bugs. So we got those ironed out. Thank you so much for our stream manager, Heck, putting in all sorts of work behind the scenes. It is well appreciated. We left off with 2 of you emerging from your lecture with Professor Scant, the remaining 2 having discovered one of the missing statues, and pick right back up with that, with the bards emerging from their cocoon of knowledge.
The cocoon of knowledge.
Do you feel like informed butterflies as you fly forth?
Behold, we emerge from the cocoon of knowledge, transformed butterflies, better for having loved and lost an hour of our lives. Here's what we've learned. And Mirth will share what was discovered.
Yisselbeck, standing next to the exact statue that you're talking about, the Ray of Enfeeblement, looks in your direction and says, it seems they can figure a few things out. You see, this is Ray of Enfeeblement in mid-cast, points at the enchantment one in the middle, said, that emotions for charm monster. That, pointing at the number 8, is animate objects. Each of these 5 are in mid-cast.
Well, shoot, why didn't you tell us that to begin with? That would have been useful.
For a few reasons. First, it would color your impressions of what was going on here. I needed to see if you actually could be useful or not. Second, my mistress insists that you have something of worth. Well, there is no better way to prove that than to see if you actually do or not. It seems so far you're of middling value.
Mirth's eyes narrow and he says, I really wish I could cast Charm Monster right now. You are pain to deal with. And I think he turns to not grumpy face over here. And is going to look at Braum and Valkyrie and say, okay, did you learn anything else?
Well, I have an idea of where the statues that were missing might be. And just kind of points a finger over to the ice. With
Right through the
weird
ice, the
shape in
shadow
it.
of it.
Yeah.
Should I try to go
Oh.
statue? Dimension door?
So the statue is a few feet within the ice. You know that you should not dimension door into a solid object.
Yeah.
I thought other side of it. That's what I was thinking.
You can get to the other side. You've been on that other side. You can dimension door the other side if you want. It's not that far of a walk. He kind of he took you just around.
Okay, I was mistaken. Sorry.
No, that's fine. That's fine.
I don't want to be encased in a block of ice.
Yeah, that would
That already happened once.
not a second time.
Not again.
That she was encased. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. That I misnumbered one of these. Not that it matters. I just have to remember that my system is now no longer functional. That was that.
Was it illusion that you misnumbered?
So the order doesn't matter. This is just me making sure that I identified what I did correctly. So yes, this is Ray of Enfeeblement here.
Mm-hmm.
This is Charm Monster. This is Animate Objects. This one's not been identified but exists. I just made the one even smaller. This one, 2, 3, 4, 6. Yes, that's the correct one there. And okay, yes, okay. I confused myself with my own system, but no, I know my system. So yeah.
So, May's going to just ask, what's the spell inside of the eyes?
Can we see its charm?
Are you asking him or are you asking me?
I'm asking him, since he knows some of this stuff.
The spell inside of the ice.
The statue that's frozen in a block of ice.
He immediately he walks with a little bit more interest and haste than before, and kind of looks at the ice and it's protection from good and evil. It's about the simplest spell you can imagine. Could you not recognize it? But what?
Lord.
He seems briefly confused. He definitely, you get the impression he did not know that that statue was in there.
Well, you seem so wise. I wanted to make sure, you're such a, whatever you are, you know it, so.
It seems you're not as completely useless as I imagined. You have seen what we did not. But I don't know what more we can make of this, and I don't know what more use you can be. Lady Valkyrie, please. With your permission. They've served their purpose. All in drow, of course.
Uh-huh. I mean, there seems to be more secrets to be found, do there not?
There are 2 schools remaining. I strongly suspect that they are, he gestures toward the other, frozen in the ice as well. And if they are, it seems that these cannot even identify the magic being used.
Then I suppose that you can get through the ice then.
Of course. And he generates a small amount of flame in his hand. Yeah, I don't know how that got in here.
I love it. I love it.
I was like, what's going on with this music?
I was like, wow, it's sure celebrating this guy being mad.
That's what like caught me off. I was like, I had to think
Sorry.
about what was being said.
Yep, I don't. One of the things that you all know at this point is I no longer hear the music after I turn it on. I'm not musically oriented in any way, shape, or form, except for the occasional timing thing I do with it. I don't hear it once I hit play. I'm not even sure how that got in that playlist.
It's from the Christmas special, I think.
Oh my
Yeah,
God,
but I didn't put the Christmas special music in that playlist. So like, I
no,
literally
it's
don't know
it's a
how it got
Christmas
in
miracle.
the wrong one. It's a Christmas
still-
miracle.
It's still on the roll. Like, it gives me
Yeah,
two
it looks
different
like it's doubled. Yeah.
Well, we can just roll
okay.
with it. It's
Yeah.
a joyful moment, really, if you look at it from a different point of view.
No, okay. I just need to find it in here.
So funny.
That should have stopped
I
it.
was
right?
having like some really
Okay.
weird dissonance going on. I was like,
Me
No.
too.
That is okay. Yep. So I had the Roll20 bug where it had the Christmas thing up there, but it wasn't playing. So at some point it must have resolved itself and started playing instead of the others. Anyway, yes. So back to wondering if the players should be killed. Of course, I am well trained and gifted with magic. By Loth herself.
so
Like
Here's
this.
Loth
the
again.
fire
It
that he's
looks-
casting, is this like a produce flame or something? Like, is he really just gonna like?
It's a
hold
low,
it?
yeah, it's a low level fire magic, yeah.
He's just gonna
But
hold
you
it
know-
in front
you
of
know
him.
that- You know that he can cast fireball. You know that he
Oh,
has.
okay.
You
kinda
are
wouldn't have asked
aware that
question. Okay.
He can cast lightning bolt. I mean, you are aware that he is a
Okay.
capable wizard.
Okay. Yeah, I'm trying to think of like a way to warn the rest of the group, because this is gonna be the point. Like, he's begging.
He said
at this
lulth, and
point.
Mirth looks uncomfortable. The one word he can recognize.
If 3 of you who aren't drow would roll a perception check for me, that would be wonderful. As you're sort of curious watching all of this take part.
13.
Oh my god, I
Yeah.
rolled so
It's just
low.
like-
And for why? I got a
don't wanna-
7!
I don't want him to just like
Help.
nuke them without any type of.
Oh, jeez.
preparation, but like, what am I gonna do?
So this is different than what you're asking, but yes, I would like them to make perception checks.
7.
7 is not a high perception check.
Yep.
Unfortunate.
And what did Brahm end up with for perception? A 5.
No!
5, 13, and
Why?
7.
How did you beat me, Brahm?
The three of you sort of looking, you can see there's definitely like growing anxiety. All of you can see the fire that appears in this mage's hand. I mean, regardless of the rolls and missing what I thought somebody might see, you're getting the tension rising. But Pilakiri, you wanted to perhaps warn them or something along those lines?
Or I thought of something. It's gonna depend on maybe a little bit of rule of cool here. Because if I give permission, he just like goes to cast something. I'm assuming it'll have some type of somatic component, or he's gonna like try to shoot something at them. Could I, with my really cool reflexes, potentially be able to just like take whatever he's gonna aim at them off course?
Yes, I am perfectly fine with that rule of cool.
I have a quick question. I've got this gaslighting spell, and I can't understand what he said, so I don't know if I can use it. Let's call it gaslighting because that's what it is.
Yeah, it's Gift of Gab, I think. Let me check. Yeah, I thought I've read this many times. I think it's a hysterical spell.
I've never heard of this.
It comes from the Acquisitions Incorporated book.
Interesting.
Basically, you talk your way out of a situation.
Yeah.
No, so in this case, I don't think that's going to function in a way that really does anything based on how the spell functions. Yeah, especially since he has. Yeah, if you can think how it would be helpful, I'm open to it, but I don't see it. So.
Yeah, the time for words might be past at this point.
Yeah.
We've had like hours for that.
So,
yeah.
I think that he said that he wants us to keep helping because we're awesome.
just you make him remember saying that, and then like he would just stop for a second and dismiss it. So but as Hex said, so this mage looks at her and says, "They are now useless. Talking is done. It is over." Oh, I didn't mean. Oh, it just went to GM, so you didn't see me accidentally click that. And he begins casting a spell, and he starts casting Everd's Black Tentacles. It's something that's just going to encompass all of them in this spell. And as he starts casting, you reach out and you punch him right at the base of his wrist, and his entire hand for a moment goes limp. And he, in absolute shock, turns and looks at you and says, "What are you doing? You have betrayed us. You have betrayed me. You worthless, meaningless pain in my..." You can see a little red spider crawling up his shoulder while he begins this rant. And right as he says, "You are a pain in the ass," it slips between his lips.
Ew.
This small red spider. And
What the heck?
there is this voice
Oh no.
that comes from deep within. It's almost as though it's emitted from a nearby shadow. A whisper, not the Frostmaiden's whisper, one certainly as, well, as wicked, if not as cold. And though most of you cannot understand it, for the voice speaks in drow, the words are familiar at least to Balakiri. Shwidridera, you have raised your hand and turned your heart dark against one of my blessed daughters.
Oh, shit.
You worthless male.
Oh
You
my.
pitiful specimen. You lesser being. Skitter away in the dark, for that is all you are worth. Yisselbeck's eyes go wide, and he immediately grabs his abdomen, yelling. The rest of you just hear this wicked whisper from the shadows, and you see him respond violently, and immediately he grabs his stomach and just starts howling. Says, no, I have served. I was patient. She turned. It is her. He just starts yelling, and you watch as he doubles over and his body begins to swell.
Oh god, he's turning into a drider.
Whoa.
Oh no!
As he leans over, his two legs split into four and grow thin and wiry. As his body rises up, he yells in pain as his robe bursts off of him. A massive abdomen extends from his back. His forelegs split again into four more, giving him the 8 spindly legs of a spider as this newborn drider rises, cursed by Lilith, sworn to be even less than what he was before. The creature turns, and with barely any with absolutely no meaningful sentience left, begins to drool and swing his hands wildly.
Oh shit.
And that is probably the best spot to stop this evening.
Oh my god.
Oh, okay.
Oh, that was so intense. Also,
Wow.
really, really well described, HP. That was so spooky
that
and
was
good. I
horrifying.
really
loved it.
Also, the little red spider, I was thinking that was going to be like his familiar or something. But that was like fully just lol vibing and making sure
Wow.
he wasn't being unfeminist. Dang.
It's
So-
true, she was being unfeminine.
She was like, shut up, incel. And then he was a drider. I wish I could do that in real life.
Thank you, everyone, for joining us this evening. We're breaking slightly early, but not really. We're going to spend just a couple minutes talking. I want to talk a little bit about the way the session went tonight, the puzzle, the drider, the entire exchange that took place. So before we get into that, we're going to go around again, reintroduce ourselves, and then hang around. We'll take about 10 minutes of chit chat. If you have any questions, it's a great time to ask them. So let's begin. Just below me, heck, tell us who you are, who you played, where you can be found, all those wonderful things.
Alrighty, hey everybody, it's me, Sir Hackalot. You know, I'm here, I'm on your screen, and I reprised, I don't know how to say that word. I have streamed again with Valkyrie. Who knows? I'll probably get to Historia back at some point, right? I don't know. We'll see. You can find me all over the internet at Sir Hackalot, including Twitch, Itch, I guess Twitter, Instagram, I'm all over the place. Just find me. It's the best place to figure out where I'm going to be in the TTRPG space next, because I tend to wander a whole lot and wear a lot of different hats. I do things like graphic design, game design, video editing, and a bunch of APs. Like most notably, on Sunday, you can catch us back on Indoor Adventures with Apocalypse Keys. On Monday, you can find HP and I right back here for Oathsworn Odyssey of the Dragon Lords. On Tuesdays, you can catch me over on Enchanting Sorcery with some Into the Old Margrave. And another really big shout out to the next couple Wednesdays I'm going to be spending over on Magic Academy as we continue our campaign, or our mini-series of Ink. It's been a really emotional journey, and I can't wait to see where it's going to go for the next 2 episodes. It's going to be great. But yeah, that is enough for me. Let's keep on keeping on.
Hi, my name's Al. I'm an artist and an avid TTRPG geek, and I'm going to post a link to my link tree. I'm all over the internet, but I'll make it easy for you to find me. Thank you.
Over to T.
Hi, I'm T, and I love playing TTRPGs. Haha. I know. And I guess you can find me on Tumblr, Twitter sometimes. I'm not super active. I'm mostly here, and maybe I'll be a guest on a game one day. I'm hoping. So I'll see you guys around.
Wonderful. Over to Janie.
Hi, I'm Janie. I play May. I show up online sometimes. I don't have a schedule for you, but hopefully in February I'll have actually more stuff that I'm doing. Next couple of weeks are a little bit empty, but that's temporary.
Fantastic. And I am Less Hit Point Hero. I have been the DM this evening. Yeah, we'll be with Heck over on Oathsworn in just a couple of days. And yeah, otherwise I'll be here in 2 weeks. We're going to take just a couple minutes for any comments, questions, concerns, conundrums, or qualms amongst the players or anyone else as we discuss how stuff went tonight. So yeah, any big concern for tonight was that you never know how puzzles are going to go. Now,
Yeah.
officially, the puzzle is not over. But, you know, that's... Oh, finally, I found a Drider for everyone.
Aw.
They're so weird looking.
So the... oh, what a terrible link. Oh, good, it resolved. So the... Puzzles are kind of interesting and difficult to present, and it's always hard to say what the important information is and what the important information isn't. I was honestly thrilled with how quickly you identified that there were 3 of the 5 of the 8 schools missing. Having Detect Magic on helped me with that a lot because it really helped to immediately point out some emphasis that each statue was a school of magic. The thing that I sort of regret, and I think that if I redid this puzzle, and this is where I kind of want everyone's thoughts. The plan for it was that you looked at it, the statue, and if it was a spell that is in your class's list, you had advantage on identifying it. And then if it wasn't, you just had to roll straight Arcana to identify it. I have regrets on that, primarily because Janie's dice hated her tonight. And the statue she was looking at is animate objects, which is pretty much a May signature spell.
The ball.
And so as soon as that dice roll failed, I went, I wish I didn't do the dice rolls. So kind of
that whole situation, the babe was just feeling a little bit off. That's all.
Yes, but you know, when we play TTRPGs like this, we don't play often, as we just had the 2 months off. When we do play regularly, it's only every 2 weeks for 3 hours a night, 3.5 hours a night. And when you have that opportunity to, that's May's signature spell, and she didn't recognize it. When I've been a player, I felt gypped in that. So I will say, if you felt in any way slighted by that, I do apologize. I hate when dice take fun out of stuff, and I hope that didn't happen.
It's okay. When that happens, I've started to just make up little reasons why the character's doing so terribly.
So anyway, that's kind of my thought. Instead of having the check, do you think it'd be fine to just straight, maybe if it's on your spell lists, especially, you just immediately know it? If I use a puzzle like this again, because this is mine, this isn't in Rime of the Frostmaiden. Do you think that would be a better way to go about it? Any thoughts in general?
I liked it. I didn't think of it until you said it, but I guess you're right. Maybe puzzles are, the joke that like you could pick a preschool level puzzle and like no matter how clever the players, it just theater of the mind is difficult when it comes to puzzles, and so is improv, right? And doing so with a bunch of people. I think for me, I love puzzles. I freaking love them, but also I'm not a very shy player, and so I talk all the goddamn time. So like, I think the trick with that for me, if I'm facilitating, is like giving people the space to work on it. It's kind of almost like a group project in school, and it can be super fun, but like, I don't envy you trying to figure out how to structure it on the fly. Like, a lot of it is people management in my experience. Like, the puzzle is fine, but people are trying to be polite to each other and waiting to see if somebody else already had an idea or not. And it's just the nature of the game sometimes. But I do agree with your thing about rolling. I didn't think of that, but I think you caught that and problem solved yourself on that one. Yeah.
Yeah, and that's, there is invariably the element of, there's other people watching us play. And so there is that question of, okay, I've worked on puzzles as a player with another group of players and have been so wildly off base that like we come to the firm conclusion. We're like, all right, we do this. And we've been talking for a half hour and we engage the plan and the response is, yeah, that doesn't do anything at all. And, I've been a player in that situation and gone, we just spent a half hour planning, 10 minutes doing, and like the response is nothing. It's why, there were 2 times when I tried to intentionally subvert that. So when you identified the correct spell or the correct school and cast a spell from that school, it did make it react. It functioned. Magic made it do, but it zapped in a painless way to say, well, it's kind of a type response was the goal.
Oh, interesting.
And then the second time, second time, so I don't forget it because I will, is Hex performance check of a 19 to mimic the statue. So the intention on my part, so to speak, was those that weren't magically inclined would look around for the other statues. That's kind of what I thought would naturally happen. But no one's like, yeah, I would, are the other ones under the ice? Those sorts of things. Since that never came up, the 19 was a really good roll for doing what, what they were trying to do, what they were trying to accomplish was get more information about the puzzle. And since that wasn't going to, I didn't want to give the impression that mimicking the puzzles would solve it. The correct response was, oh, you see what everyone just thought was a reflection was one of the missing statues. So yeah, there were 2 times I tried to, I didn't want to just say it's completely off base. No, it does nothing. Wanted to kind of give a little. But that was, again, my thinking. And Al, you had a thought in the middle of that.
Yeah, no, that's good to know. The moment where where the statue reacted to being dispelled was a good moment. I perceived that maybe a little differently than was intended. The way that I read that was a rejection of the magic idea, and I think part of that is because the male drow made a comment, oh, use a stronger spell so you get electrocuted or whatever next time. So the way that I interpreted that on the fly was, or at least the way Mirth thought of it was, oh wait, wrong track entirely. Yes, it reacted. Shouldn't be casting magic on it. We're going to have to go in a more roundabout way. And I don't know if that was the case or not, but that was...
May was absolutely terrified that Mirth would get killed. But because
it's likely.
May's mind is like, if it fell at the statue would mean it would strike, that would happen.
Yeah,
So,
May is
Yep.
wise.
There are a lot of like gotcha puzzles like that. I mean, I've played through the Tomb of Horrors. I don't know if anybody else has played that. It is not fun for me to just have a trap absolutely eviscerate a character, or being so terribly punished for not doing what the DM thought you would do. In retrospect, and Al, with what you said about the statue reacting, what might have worked better, and this is me kind of brainstorming that solution for that, is if the statue started to glow and react, like it was lighting up and then just dimmed.
Yeah.
I think that would more positively show that.
That would have gotten a lot more the rat hits the button to see if a treat comes out.
Yeah, in retrospect, I think that is the kind of, and that's that's the tough thing, is I didn't have the full mechanics of the puzzle written down, because I found you can't anticipate what players are going to do anyway. So when I have a puzzle like this, there is, okay, this is the function this is serving. This is a lock for a door. It is magically based. It is each one with a different school. Let's see what they do with it. And I have, not in this case, because we didn't really get to that point. And we still have, I mean, the puzzle's still here. The door is still locked. There's just a Drider fight before that happens now. But the thing that...
It's not going to notice that we are killing him.
He has now gone non-sentient.
I know, it would just be nice if he knew that we were killing him.
I know.
Sorry.
No. But that's kind of the general approach that I've had before with puzzles, especially streamed puzzles, is see what they do, and if it's cool, yes, that was always the answer. And so, I have had cases where I've done puzzles and it's like, the answer is, do something that makes sense, and it kind of resolves.
Yeah.
But anyway,
I think it was fun. Yeah, it's tricky. Puzzles are tricky. Really depends on the group. I think you did well. I never felt that you were ever trying to be difficult or ever doing a gotcha. I never get that from your DMing ever, but definitely you were working with us, and I could also see that you were trying not to just give it to us as well, right? There's this, you were striking a balance of, sure, all right, fine, you want an hour to go listen to your lesson, go ahead, here is some information that, I think you did a good balance.
Yeah, and that, the whole giving hints and that sort of thing, I thought, Professor Scant's an excellent way to definitely get an answer to this. And
it's useful.
Kind of the last thing that I have, and this is a above table question for everyone, kind of watching how people were interacting with it, and some folks thinking, well, I don't know if I'm going to be useful in this or that sort of thing. Do you think skipping puzzles like this in the future would be a good thing? What are your feelings on that, just as players? Because I did notice there were at least a couple times where there was actual vocalization of, I'm not sure there's anything helpful I can do here, that sort of thing. Do we want to skip things like this, or approach them a different way? Does everyone think?
Personally, I like when everyone can contribute to something like that.
Yeah, I gotta say I felt pretty useless for all of this. Also, my rolls were like positively atrocious.
I know, like
mine too.
Very mean today.
I don't think there was a
Didn't
single
make it
good.
better.
I don't think there was a single good roll anywhere. So
Except for that 19. That was like the only good one.
Yeah, honestly, I think the 19 was the only good roll
Everyone
of
who
the
was
night.
by the dice tonight, please raise your hand.
Yeah, there was
Yeah.
like 119 and like 116, and that was it. The rest were like,
Yeah, the
like
rest
14
were.
or below, which is like, eh. Not for a bunch of like level 9 adventurers, at least.
Exactly,
That's
that's
what level 9 should be doing.
That's the other painful part.
Yeah.
we rolled so bad.
So it's definitely something I'll keep in mind. And one thing that I will also say, just as a part of my GMing style, is I will always respond to, I do something. Like even if nothing seems to make any sense, it doesn't have to make sense to me. I mean, I've depending on which kind of movies you watch and what you're in the mood for. I mean, I rewatched Fury Road the other night, and the entire aesthetic of Mad Max Fury Road is absolutely bonkers, and all of the characters are super over the top. And how do we approach this problem that is done in like the craziest way possible. So one thing that you will find just playing, and I hope you have at least once while we've been playing, is the thing that you try doesn't always have to make sense. For me, it kind of puts it on me to find a way for it to make sense, and I'm okay with that. So I think it's kind of me saying, giving you permission, if you ever feel useless in a situation, find your highest stat and do something with it, and hopefully that will help me kind of guide in that direction. But I also don't want anyone to feel like there's nothing I can do that will be helpful. So that's something I'll try to be even more aware of as we keep going. That's pretty much everything from me that I had in mind. Anything else anyone want to bring up before we split and sleep and come back in 2 weeks, back on schedule and on track?
It's so good to see all of you. I missed you.
Yes.
It's really good to see your faces.
It is. So thank you so much, everyone, for joining us, for sticking around for our little after talk. Since it's been so long, I will say again, I do this on stream for a reason. A lot of times these conversations will happen when streams get shut down, and they happen afterwards. But something that's always been important with me, with the games that I play, is that people see that when you're playing a TTRPG at home, stop and talk about this stuff. The point is for all of us to have fun playing, and the only way if everyone's having fun playing is to just ask and be open with each other. So I do that very intentionally out in the open, hopefully as a model for anyone watching that gets to the end of each session to see. I hope it can be helpful and meaningful, and it means a lot to me because I like to hear from the players, about things going well and things not, and all of that. It helps me adjust to how people are feeling about their characters or those sorts of things. So that's the intention of all of this. That's why I do it. I actually haven't said that in a very long time. And I should say that a little bit more often because it's on purpose. So I think that is it. Thanks for joining us. See you in 2 weeks. Until then, there is one rule and one rule only. Be good. Bye.